Self-advocacy is all about taking the pen into your own hand and owning the narrative around yourself, your career, and your brand. At the end of the day, if you hand that pen over to someone else, they are going to pick and choose what to say about you, your impact, your capabilities, etc. And they're going to tell your story through their lens. And that lens may be favorable to you, potentially, but it could miss out on so much that you think is extremely important to bring to the forefront and for others to know about what you do, what you can do, and where you're going. So really recognize the fact that self-advocacy is all about ensuring that the version of you that you want the world to know, to understand, to celebrate, to really engage and fully embrace can only happen if and when you take this into your own hands. This is extremely essential because, again, as I said, when you don't do this, you leave it for others to define who you are, what your story is, what your impact has been, and overall what your brand is or what it should be. And at the end of the day, self-advocacy allows for you to also ensure that you are claiming your own destiny. It allows you to direct your path and make it your own.
So what are some practical ways to assert your worth in spaces where you may feel overlooked?
Listen, many of us have been in various organizations, potentially teams, or even roles where we may have felt that what we've done, who we are, isn't quite fully understood. Maybe it's not fully embraced, or potentially overall we feel, overlooked. And the reality is, in order to conquer or overcome that feeling, it's about getting back into the driver's seat. This is about taking that real responsibility around self-advocating and ensuring that you are starting to tell your story. And you're doing it thoughtfully, tactfully, balancing that with a bit of humility, of course. And you're thinking about, how do I ensure that the people who need to know, they do know? How do I ensure that they have factual information about what I've done, where I've been, where I'm going, my why? And by taking that overall control and ensuring that you're doing that, you're going to accelerate your own impact and ensure that also you're getting closer to where you want to be when, hopefully, you want to be there. And so this is why this is so important, and it's extremely critical that you take it into your own hands. I remember when I started moving out of this space of just keeping my head down and getting the work done and wanted to actually shift into owning that narrative for myself, it was a bit uncomfortable. And I think what made it uncomfortable was I didn't want to be seen or perceived as someone who was bragging, someone who had no sense of the fact that, humility is critical as we navigate these various spaces. And so there is a little bit of tension that can happen. But when you're in that uncomfortable space, recognize that it's probably coming from the fact that you just haven't practiced it. So I would say if you want to get started, start small, start local, start right within your own space. So think about, how do you communicate your impact, your doing, or your what to your manager? Maybe start there. How do you start to craft and practice sharing your wins, etc., in a way that feels, aligned to you and doesn't feel so uncomfortable? The more you practice, the better you'll be. So I would say, find something local, someone in your near vicinity. Maybe it's your manager. Maybe it's another leader on the team who you tend to have a good bond with, or someone who works very closely to you in your specific space of work. And you start to share little by little. You will become comfortable as you continue to practice. And just remember, everyone is having to put this into practice. Everyone's doing it. And so it could be awkward in the beginning, and potentially you may ask, hey, I want to kind of share what I'm doing with you. And if you got any feedback on how I'm delivering that, would love to bring that on board as well. But I haven't spent a lot of time celebrating my own wins and sharing my story, and I want to start doing that more actively. You could ask for some advice, but I actually think the most important thing is to practice. and practice local to you. Again, someone kind of more within your immediate sphere of influence. And I think that that will really help you get unstuck and really start to make what feels uncomfortable more comfortable over time. Thank you so much for joining our conversation today. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share.